And we're delighted to be joined today by Brazilian UFC fighter ranked number 9 in the light heavyweight rankings. Johnny Walker, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you very much, my friend. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Listen, Johnny, thanks a mil for doing this. I suppose for the listeners, if you want to give a bit of a breakdown in terms of how you burst onto the scene in terms of Dana White's Contender Series and what that was like before you moved on to the UFC.
Yeah. So I started my career when I was in 2014, my first professional fight. I was in Brazil. Then after I get a little bit of experience, then I left Brazil like 2.5 years ago for Scotland because I have an opportunity to get sponsor there. Then I start training there. Then I pick some fights. Then I make 3 fights in 1.5 months. One in London, 1 belt on UC MMA. And then 1 month later in 1 event heavyweight in Southampton. Then 1 week after fight heavyweight, I fight 1 title shot in Belgium and light heavyweight as well. So after this, I rank on the first place in Brazil and UK. Then I got the opportunity to fight in Dana White's Thursday Night Contender Series. So there, I beat one experienced guy, ex-UFC, Brazilian as well. Then I got my contract. Then I start my career.
Yeah, you mentioned you had 3 fights in 6 weeks or something. What was that like in terms of moving different up and down on different weights from light heavyweight and heavyweight as well?
It was crazy because I have size enough and I'm heavy enough to be heavyweight. I fight in light heavyweight like 1 month later, 1 title shot in London, UC MMA. Then 1 month later, I fight in heavyweight. The guy, but I'm not very heavy because no time enough to rebuild my muscles and everything, to get ready to come back for my normal weight. So the guy was like 15 kilo more than me, maybe. Let me see, 15 kilo in pounds, like 30 pounds more than me, a little bit more. So I beat him up on the second round. Then 1 week later, I fight on light heavyweight again. So after I fight this heavyweight, I left the fight straight on the diet, cutting weight again. Then it was crazy.
Yeah, that must be crazy going a lot up and down. But then you made your breakthrough in the UFC. What was that like compared to the Contender Series?
It was really good event. Contender Series. I'm happy that I got this opportunity on that time. It's like it's not like a reality show. You don't have many fights to prove. Like you just have one chance. You have to beat the guy and try to get the contract. Because most guys won the fight and they don't get the contract. So you have to perform good, So I think I was really good performance, and then I got the contract.
And what were those couple of wins then? You managed to win a few times in UFC. What was that like in terms of the hype that was building surrounding you? Because a lot of people were building you up in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, well, it was good because I started really good. I get 3 straight wins and 3 bombs of the night for knockout. So this is giving me a really big hype, and people expect that he's gonna be the next champion and stuff. But everything's very new for me, I did really good, but everything's new. The famous, the UFC, and a lot of opportunity and everything. So this is scary in the first time, But now today I know how to manage everything. So after that, these 3 wins, I get 2 losses because the part of the process you have to learn from your mistakes and stuff. I have a bad time with my old coach and a lot of stuff going on. But today I'm come back to win, and I know what I have to do. I have good people around me, good coach, good training, and so everything is good now. So I'm really excited to come back to fight again.
You spoke there about a few of your wins. What was UFC 235 like in terms of the emotion that came with?
This one is a really big shit going on because that injury stopped me for 9 months. So fucked me up, you know.
And that was all done from the celebration.
Yeah, I knocked him out in 30 seconds. Then the problem, I'm trying to do the warm, but what hurts me is not the warm. What hurts me because I just landed on the floor with my arm straight, then my shoulder popped out. The warm doesn't hurt. What hurts because I hit the floor really heavy with my arm straight, so my shoulder popped out.
And then you mentioned the hype in terms of there was a lot of hype building before that Corey Anderson fight. I suppose, what was it like once you were defeated there in terms of, you know, you had the 3 wins and the 3 knockouts, and then you lost your first fight on the UFC. What was that like in terms of the emotions of it all?
You know, I just faced this like part of the process, as I told you, because everything too long. I fight professional for 6 years, and before I just trained for two or 3 years more. So I'm not born in. I know I was born on the how to say, in the fight world. You know, I start training martial arts when I'm 21 or 23 years old. So everything's new for me, and with little time, I make a big jump, big progress in my career. You know, in 6 years, I get on the best events in the world. You know, I get in. So I think I'm doing good.
And after those losses, do you go back and look, you know, at the videos and see what you went wrong and maybe what you improve on?
Yeah, 100%. No, not just about the video, but about the experience. You know, the diet, how to cut the weight, how to rest properly, how to take off look after the injury, like a mental health. So every fight you learn something different. So my last fight, I really did everything properly, and you see the result. So the guy gives me a big shot, and he don't knock me out. So because I quickly recover, my mental health is good, and my conditioning is good. So, you know, when you do everything properly, you see the results.
Yeah, and you spoke there about cutting weight. I think, you know, for most sports fans, you might hear, oh, he's trying to cut weight. How difficult is that to get right in terms of, you know, you're trying to reach the limit and you have to cut down heavily, and it kind of affects, does it affect everything, your training, how you go about your day to day?
The cutting weight stuff? Yeah, you know, I always try to eat healthy. You see, fruits right now. And I, I start eat healthy. I try to eat healthy whole year, you know, and this is make easy to cut my weight because I don't have too much fat to cut. So I cut 25 pounds usually, and in 1 week, like 10 kilos, a little bit more, a little bit less. And then this is healthy for me because I can cut easy. Sometimes I cut without sauna, without bath. My last cut weight for this last fight, I just cut by diet, and I hyperhydrate my body as well. Then I start dropping down. Then I make a bath for like, I think 10 minutes or less. Then I make the weight. So it's pretty easy. But because I keep eating healthy, I don't have too much fat to lose. So I try to keep my weight close to my division class, and this is make easy because I eat healthy and I keep my weight close. But I can be heavyweight easy as well because when I'm off, I have 240, 245.
And then you mentioned the last fight, and that was your best cut weight. You've trained in places like Canada, Russia, Brazil, England, Thailand, Scotland. What made you make the move to Ireland and SBG Ireland more specifically?
1 year ago, I was in Ireland to meet my girlfriend and her family. So I looked for a place to train. Then this is the first time that I trained in SBG 1 year ago. So now for this last company training, I was in Brazil after my fight against Nikita Krylov. Then I was in lockdown there, and I'd be like 5 months, almost 5 months without seeing my girlfriend. Then she got a holiday from Qatar because she's primary school teacher there. And then we plan to meet in Ireland because Ireland accepts tourists. Then I fly Brazil to Ireland. Then I meet her there. then UFC offered me the fight against Ryan Spann. Then I accept, but let me see if I can make my proper company train, because I couldn't fly back to Canada because the border is closed because COVID. So I called John Kavanagh and asked him if he can make my training camp. So this because I make my training camp there. Then now I really like, and I am coming back.
And you mentioned in other interviews that it was your best training camp. What was it like working with John Kavanagh, and what's involved in terms of training with him? Do you meet him every day, or is it kind of 3 or 4 times a week you're with him, or how does it work?
Every day we train together, and he's really committed with his business, He likes to train, he likes to teach people. Like after we finish the professional class, he stay in the gym and help everybody else. So if you ask, oh, coach, how I can escape for this position or anything else, and he stay there, wherever you are, he always be there to teach you, to help you. So this is making me feel more comfortable and more like feel like at home, because he want to help, he want to improve everybody, he want to help everybody to get better. So this is making me feel better, and he really look after me because he give me time to rest. He control my rest. He said, no, I think you need to rest today. You train too much. So this is make the good balance, because there's no hours train hard. You need rest as well, because sometimes when you don't rest properly, you lose the whole train that you did.
And, for everyone associated with Conor McGregor, John Kavanagh comes straight to mind. Is that something before you worked with him, would you have known about him, his strengths, or would you have always admired his coaching methods?
I know he's a good coach because 1 year ago, I was there. I spent 2 weeks training there. And I didn't met Conor yet on the gym because I don't know, I think he's big holiday. But yeah, I would like to train with Conor, and I know John make one champion already, and I know he can make another one. He have experience for this, so I hope he can make the same with me.
You mentioned rest days. Was that something that you weren't doing? Were you maybe overtraining in previous camps where alongside John Kavanagh you're meant to rest? And like a professional athlete, I suppose, is probably the hardest thing for you to do, because you can train 2 or 3 times a day if you wanted to, but maybe rest is probably better going into a fight.
Yeah, my last fight against Nikita Krylov. Nikita never won one fight by decision, her first fight. So he's a really tough guy. And I was overtraining when I fight against him. This because I couldn't stand up, I couldn't fight properly. But then I talk to myself like, I fight against this tough guy, and I'm overtraining, and he don't beat me up. He just won me by a point. He just holds me on the floor and get the fight for the decision, So imagine if I'm really good, if I rest good, if I make a good training camp. So maybe it can be one fight to make a rematch, because I know I can beat him if I'm rest properly, make a good company. If I'm not over comp train, if I'm not over, I'd say over training.
Yeah,
I know I can beat him.
And then you mentioned rest in terms of what's involved with rest. It may sound like a stupid question, but are you just kind of, sitting down? Are you stretching on those rest days? Because it must be frustrating, because it's a lot of time for you. If you've got the whole day and all you have to do is rest, what's involved with that whole day. And you mentioned before in terms of in your previous fights, you may not have been as focused on those rest days.
Yeah.
As well.
In my middle training camp in SPG, John gave me 5 days off.
5 days?
Yeah,
wow.
He said, hey, just go with your girlfriends. We was in Donegal. We stayed there, and for 5 days I just rest. Eat good. He said, eat healthy and rest. Don't do no exercise, because the muscles on my body was hurt because too much training, lifting weights, sprints, and wrestling and MMA and everything. So the muscles needs time to recover. So he gave me 5 days, and when I come back straight away to a sparring, and I see big difference, because on the sparring I get so good, and I feel no tired. I feel my muscles fresh. So after this, I really trust him more, because I thought he's crazy. My middle camp training 5 days to rest. I never did this, and so I see that work, because when I come back, I train really hard, and my body feels fresh. So your body needs time to recover. Now I know this. You need eat your health, drink a lot of water, sleep good, so meditation and stuff. So everything that I can do to to improve my body, to make my recovery quickly and better, I'm doing, you know.
You've trained all over the world and dealt with different coaches and different styles. Is there something about John Kavanagh, his coaching style, in terms of his technique and what he wants you to do with your technique, and how you fight differently compared to different guys? Is that something, you know, what's John's technique and his stance on that?
John's a really good black belt. His background, I think, he preferred jiu-jitsu, you know. His background is jiu-jitsu, but we have everything over there. We have a good striker, good badman, Muay Thai, and good guys to sparring box. So John bring everything to me, everything that I need, he can offer to me, you know. So, and he's really smart. He make a good strategy for my fight, and we watch the fight together. We make a game plan. So he's very professional. This because I like to work with him.
And then you mentioned strategy. So when you're going into a fight like your last fight, do you and John sit down and decide your strategy? Do you have something in mind that you want to do before you speak to John Kavanagh, and then the two of you guys kind of come together with the plan, or how does it work exactly?
Yeah, we make a couple training, but I didn't follow. This because I get shot. I get too excited to fight, you know. I have to be more safe and more. I have to take it easy more because I know I have my potential. I know I can knock everybody out, but I take too much risk when I go too forward. So I should walk more, move more around, and take my time. I don't. But this fight, I just come to the fight, I kick him and punch, so I get shot because I get too excited. Next one, I gotta be more smart, you know, and follow the plan.
Coach Kavanagh has written a book titled "Win or Learn." Is that something you've sort of developed from him? You know, you either win or you learn.
Yeah, and I promise for myself that the next time if I need to learn something, I hope I can learn from my win. So I learn from my win. Next time I'm gonna be more take it easy, you know.
And where, you know, when you got knocked down a couple of times in the Ryan Spann fight, was that because of the strategy, and maybe for a second you were getting too excited as opposed to maybe sticking to the game plan more, or were they things that just happen in a fight as well? Because it all happens so quickly.
Yeah, I get too excited, so I didn't follow the plan. I should move more around, kick him more, and see the distance, work more my box. So I just sorry, I just good for the war. No, I have to be more smart.
And then you mentioned Donegal there. What was it like traveling around Ireland? Because you know, we've a lot of Irish listeners here. You know, I'd say if they were up in Donegal and saw yourself there, like, you know, when you were training for a fight, but you obviously had those 5 days of rest. What was Donegal like, and other areas that you traveled in Ireland as well?
Yeah, I didn't travel too much. I just went to Belfast and Donegal. Donegal is a really chill place. You know, I have beach there. I fish a little bit. I jump in the sea. So it's really, really nice place. I would like to travel more around the island. So probably I'm gonna do this when I come back now. And probably I'm gonna spend Christmas there as well. So probably I'm gonna have a lot of time to see good things over there.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you're going to be coming back to Ireland training, but you're not going into a training camp yet because you don't have a fight. So what's going to be involved there in terms of, are you going to work closely with John Kavanagh in terms of coming up with a plan to just keep fit? And how does that work? Because obviously a lot of fighters may need a fight to concentrate on. So how are you going to keep yourself going when you're just in the training camp, but just to keep yourself fit and keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep training and keep evolution. You always can learn something, you know. So I want to improve my box, my wrestling, my wall work, and my jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna train everything. I'm gonna join into the class, you know, jiu-jitsu class and stuff. So I'm gonna train as much as I can, and now without commitment, you know, like I have nothing booked, so I just can go there and enjoy, you know.
And what do you think about mixed martial arts in Ireland? You know, like we said, you've been all over the world, and then you come into this sort of, you know, unbelievable area of mixed martial arts in Ireland, which is SBG. What's that like in terms of the whole culture and the gym, and what Coach Kavanagh has done there?
Yeah, I travel so much. I see a lot of culture in martial arts. around the world, and because I travel so much. I like to travel because of this, because I like to learn new cultures. I like to taste new foods and see new peoples, understand more about martial arts, and and on SBG they are very professional, and they have good jiu-jitsu, and they have a good MMA style to train. So this because I really like, and I hope I can learn and improve a lot the, now, because I'm gonna move there. I'm planning to move to Ireland next year to live there as well. So this is my plan.
So that's exciting. So you're gonna move to Ireland permanently to live in Ireland.
Yeah, I have an Irish girlfriend, so this is the plan.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. One thing I wanted to speak about. Do you want to come in there, Sean?
We might see you wrapped around the tricolour after a UFC fight yet, the Irish flag.
Probably. Yeah, I can share Brazil, Ireland,
Yeah, and you're a fan of the Guinness as well, I understand.
Say it again?
The Guinness, you're a fan?
Yeah, I like Guinness. It's really good.
One thing I wanted to speak about that you actually spoke in a lot of interviews, you mentioned a lot of stuff you want to learn and improve. And a couple of times there you mentioned the mental health side of things. I understand you were speaking to a sports psychologist in terms of breathing exercises. What's that like in terms of, does that help you focus for fights a bit more than you did previously? Or
100%. The breath techniques helps to relax and set your mind up, and you can keep more focus on your training, and you have different brief techniques that you can do before sleep to have a better sleep, and between your day to your body rests better, So, and also I have one mental coach from Brazil that I talk to him like every week, talk about if I have any problem, my plans and stuff, or something that I have to change, like somebody to help you to put the things on the right way, And I think this is really important, because if you are on this level on this sport, you have to bring everything that can help you improve, So I try to bring everything that I can use to improve myself. I'm gonna use.
And mental health is such a huge thing, but especially in sports people, you get that buzz of a fight, the week before a fight and the weigh-in and everything, and you're on this such a high, and then it can all come crashing down after a loss, especially after, say, for example, the Corey Anderson fight, when you've been, have the weigh and have the press conference and it's all go, and then you wake up the morning after the fight. Is it so easy to get yourself in the rut and start thinking down? Whereas, if you wake up with this, positive mindset of, today's a new day and I'm going to go towards a new chapter.
Yeah. When I was fighting against Corey Anderson, my mind was fucked up. I was having a hard time with my old coach, so many troubles around me, no good people around me, like lot of things that I have to think about and things in my mind. So if you don't have your mind clean and very focused what you're gonna do, imagine you go to the octagon and your mind's full of bullshit inside, and you can't focus on the fight. You can't be there, So this is really important. Now I know and I learn from that. And every fight now, I just stop to talk to many people. I try to block myself against things that can be negative with me, like just think about fight. My girlfriend helped me as well. She don't bring me problem on the fight week, because she knows very important that I need my mind clean and fresh and think about just fight and my strategy and stuff. So after fight, we start a normal life again, share the problems and stuff. But on the fight week, man, not just on the fight week, but on the company training stuff, you have to keep your mind clean and focus what you have to do,
What is that fight week like? Because, for us, Irish listeners, we'll have experienced Conor McGregor, the weigh-in and the sort of the manicness. But you could tell with McGregor, behind the scenes, he was strict to his craft. What do you think of the whole weigh-ins and press conferences and that week leading up to the fight? And how does that, affect your body, your training? And what is it like? Is it sort of mad?
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
On the fight week, the UFC helps a lot. They try to do everything as easy as possible to don't push us too hard because they know we are in diets and cutting weight. So for me, it's good because I get used to it, and I know I just have to do some stuff for UFC like interviews and press conference, but I keep doing my diet and doing my training stuff. So for me, it's pretty normal, and I really like. Don't bother me at all.
And what's next for you, Johnny? Because you've mentioned it a couple of times. You're light heavyweight at the moment, but you mentioned a couple of times you have ambitions of going heavyweight at some point. What would you like to kind of see yourself? Where do you see yourself over the next 2 or 3 years, or next 2 or 3 fights? Do you see yourself kind of moving up the rankings in light heavyweight, or do you see yourself maybe pushing on for even heavyweight?
Yeah, I think now is the time to take it easy and pick the right fight, be ready, because if I do everything properly, I just need maybe 2 more fights, then I can go to the title shots on my division. 2 big wins for me, I think puts me on the title shot. So I'm gonna pick the proper fights, and then can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yeah, I have to pick just the proper fights and be very smart now, because if I do everything properly, 2 more fights I can put me on the title shot. And probably I'm gonna go heavyweight soon, but not really soon, maybe in 2 years. So after I get the belt, if God bless me, I can get the belt on light heavyweight. I want to go to heavyweight and try to do the same.
Brilliant. And listen, we really appreciate your time, Johnny. We're going to ask you a few quick fire questions, if that's okay.
All
Just
right.
kind of like a quick one word answers. The first one is, what has been your favorite fight so far, your best fight so far in UFC?
I really like my third fight against Misha Cirkunov,
Okay.
because this guy is really, really good fighter and was a really brilliant knockout, like a fly knee. So I really like that fight.
And what's your favorite place to fight in terms of stadium or arena? Sorry.
Uh, I never lost one fight in Vegas, so I like fights here.
And that's where you are at the moment.
Yeah.
And then who's been your toughest opponent? You've had a couple of losses, but would they have beat, or is there anyone that who would be your toughest opponent?
The first was one Polish guy that I fought in Southampton. The guy fucking 119 kilo. My size, but strong. So this guy is really tough.
And you still remember him even through all your UFC fights. You still remember that Polish guy in Southampton.
Yeah, that guy was tough.
What would be the best advice you've gotten so far? So if you had something that kind of sticks out when you're focusing for fights, what's the best advice you've received, either from a coach or one of the people in your camp?
Man, for the advice I can give myself for everybody, like, you need to focus and be professional, and you have to win yourself. Like, sometimes you have to stop to do things that you love to do, that you like to do, to be focusing the thing that you have to do. Like, you have to stop to go out, you have to stop drink, you have to focus on your diet, and you need to rest more. So just be professional and make a plan, and just, you don't have to make a plan B, because I think plan B is for loser. You have to make a plan A and just keep going until you finish.
What's your favorite part about being a mixed martial arts or a UFC fighter? What's the favorite part?
The favorite part is when you fight and you win, because the time when you fight, I feel free. I feel like, fuck, I'm doing the thing that I love, that I was born to do. Because the training camp is fun and the training is good and the travel is good as well. But when you fight, it's just very short moment, but it's amazing.
And it's that buzz, isn't it, of when you're fighting? Is it during the fight or winning or a bit of everything and the lead up to it all? It's all coming down to those couple of fights a year.
No, it's just when you fight. Like when the referee say, "You ready?" Yeah, of course I'm ready. I'm here, I'm ready. And then when they finish the fight, so between when it starts and he's finished, this is the amazing time in my life, you know.
And what's the crowd like in that sense as well when you're playing or you're fighting in a packed out arena? What is that? Does that add something to it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I like to fight for people. I like to share my energy. I like to feel them energy as well. So now I miss the crowd, but I have no idea when this is gonna come back.
Excellent. And then last thing in terms of, would you have maybe who would be in terms of sporting heroes that inspired you? So it could be either a UFC fighter or even someone from a different sport from Brazil, a Brazilian sports star. Who would be your 2 or 3 sporting heroes that you'd look up to even in the world today?
I like Anderson Silva on the MMA world, you know, and I really like, don't know if you know the football player Ronaldinho Gaúcho.
Who's he? Who?
Ronaldinho.
Oh, Ronaldinho, sorry.
Yeah, for me, this is the best player ever.
Yeah. He was unbelievable, wasn't he? The skills, the free kicks, he had everything.
Yeah, for me, he's the best player ever.
And were you into football?
Yeah, I really like football.
You're nice and tall for football. What position did you play?
Striker.
Oh, yeah. Scoring all the goals.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Johnny, I suppose listeners listen to your Irish background. We almost have like another Irish sports star to support here now, especially when you're moving to Ireland. So we really appreciate coming on the podcast, and best of luck. We're going to be watching your career very closely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Super, Johnny, and we'll catch up with you maybe one day when you're back in Dublin. Take care.
All right. Thank you.